week on Storyboard, we speak to Sheryl Connelly, Manager Global Consumer Trends and Futuring Ford Motor Company, about Ford's City of Tomorrow Symposium and how it helps them know more about the different forces that shape consumer behavior. We also speak to Seema Arora Nambiar, Senior Vice President Strategy and Innovation and Capability at McDonald's India, to find out why McDonald's India is saying borders mitai pass lie. And we get you the glimpses of the IAA Leadership Awards, where CNBC TV 18's Shireen Bhan won the IAA Leader TV Anchor of the Year, and Network 18 News CEO and Group Editor-in-Chief Rahul Joshi won the IAA Editorial Leader Award. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. This is Shibani Gharat, and we begin this show by looking at some major developments. PepsiCo India Chairman D. Sivakumar has resigned almost 4 years after taking over as the head of this cola and snacks giant. Sivakumar is all set to join the $45 billion Aditya Birla Group as Group Executive President in January. He'll report to Chairman Kumar Mangalam Birla. Also, Umang Bedi, MD of Facebook, has resigned citing personal reasons. Facebook released a statement confirming Bedi's resignation. We wish them luck for their future endeavors. Moving on, we speak to Sheryl Connelly, Manager Global Trends and Futuring at Ford Motor Company, about Ford's City of Tomorrow Symposium. Let's hear this conversation.
Hello and welcome to India.
Thank you.
So tell me, what brings you to India?
I'm really excited about being in India. It's my first time here, and Ford Motor Company is hosting a City of Tomorrow Symposium here in New Delhi, and we're bringing together stakeholders from lots of different areas, urban planning, thought leaders, academics, and we're going to try to talk about what does the City of Tomorrow need to look like? How do we optimize the resources we have and make the future brighter?
By definition, this can't be a one-size-fits-all global solution, so I guess you'll have different solutions for each city you go to. So tell us a little bit about the cities that you're talking about in India.
So we just actually held a conference like this in San Francisco, in America. We're doing New Delhi, and then next week we'll do London. And what we're trying to do is understand what are the unique needs for each of these markets. And right now we're starting in New Delhi, but we'll expand further to try to understand the different needs in the north, south, east, and west of central India.
Right. Your outcomes don't necessarily talk about cars, they talk about things other than cars, despite this being a Ford event. So tell me, why do you choose to talk about things other than cars? You know, it's a great unselfish thing to do, but why do you do that?
Well, I'm really unusual within the car company because I've worked for Ford Motor Company for 20 years, and I'm definitely not a car person. My job as a corporate futurist is to look outside the automotive industry, and we inside the company are always thinking about the future. It takes 3 to 5 years to take an idea and actually execute so that it's ready to sell in the marketplace. So everyone in the company, whether you're in design, engineering, HR, IT, we all are tasked with trying to understand what consumers are going to want. And if I went to you and said, how can I make your life easier 5 years from now? If you're like me, you would say, I know what's going to make my life easier 5 weeks from now. 5 years is almost unimaginable. So my role is to look at social, technological, economic, environmental, and political patterns to see where the changes are happening, because we know these are the 5 forces that will shape consumer values, their attitudes, and behaviors. So looking at demographic shifts, which populations are aging, which populations are younger, where are the urban markets most dense, what will the challenges that follow these types of things, and how can we as a OEM play a role in trying to resolve those issues so that we can improve the quality of life. I mean, ultimately our goal is to make people's lives better through mobility solutions.
So tell me, what are the things you've identified for my daughter and 5 years from now in India? So what are those things that concern you or make you excited about the India 5 years from now?
I think India is ripe with so much potential. The sheer size of the population, and because they are an anomaly on a global stage, the rest of the world is aging rather rapidly. In the United States, every 7 seconds another person turns 65. And throughout the European Union, in the coming decades, there'll be more people over the age of 50 than under the age of 50. But in India, they're the global exception. They're one of the youngest countries in the world, and that is going to bring with it what's known as a demographic dividend. And it is a rare but powerful opportunity to change what India stands for, because you are going to have a unique position where you're going to have more workers than retirees. And that means that it is ready for transformation. And companies like Ford want to be part of that transformation.
Right. So tell me, before we got onto camera, you spoke about India will find its own unique solutions in transportation specifically. Mm-hmm. So what do you see as the solutions that they will look for and find?
Well, I think you have to look at the general landscape. What are the greatest challenges and what are the issues? So here in a place like India, or more specifically New Delhi, you have this density of your population. You're a mega city, so that means you have a population over 10 million or more, and it's closer to 20 million here, and is the case throughout a lot of Asia. And trying to build a solution around that is uniquely challenging. More and more people are recognizing that time is the ultimate luxury. So as a mobility service provider, we want to ask, how might we give you back some of that time? How can we make your day more meaningful and that your commute optimized so that it's a pleasant journey, that it's not something that's frustrating, where you're stuck in traffic, where you're surrounded by pollution, and kind of the general agitation that comes with people that get frustrated by having to spend so much time in their car. So we're looking at easing the congestion. We want to give greater access. And so maybe that means putting more shuttles on the road, or encouraging bicycles, or helping cities come up with better solutions for rapid bus transit, or even trains. And this is a really fundamental shift for a company that makes cars.
Absolutely. Obviously, exercises like this cost a lot of money for Ford Motor Company as you travel around the world and host these various events. So we're living in a world where everybody counts the return on investment very, very carefully. So tell me, how does Ford make its money back when they do something like this, when they invest in the city of tomorrow?
For these types of events, it's a learning journey, and it's a partnership, and it's basically saying that we no longer think we can figure out the solution by ourselves, that we need to collaborate with people. We need to get richer and better insights. And so for this is an investment. It's an investment in our future. It's an investment in the future of India. And so we think it's time and money and resources well spent.
But there must be some way to figure out whether it's well spent. Now, you use the phrase well spent. So how do I know it's well spent?
Well, I guess we'll know tomorrow with the kind of conversations that take place. And it opens the doors for new collaborations and partnerships. Tomorrow, we're bringing in some of the brightest minds. We're working with TED, the very well-known kind of organizers of annual conferences, and they're bringing some of their TED fellows, young academics. They're looking for new solutions. And what's nice, because we're a car company, sometimes we have biases. We don't see things the way that a tech company would. Yeah. And so now we're doing more pilots and experiments with new stakeholders, young startups, just to kind of change our whole worldview.
Yeah, sure. By definition, this sort of involves private-public participation, and often, I guess, it could cause you to talk to your competition as well, other car manufacturers. If it's a transportation problem, well, it's all cars are part of that problem. So how do you navigate that area, talking to perhaps your competition as well?
Well, I think it's really interesting because I started working for Ford Motor Company 20 years ago, and I don't think anyone would have ever imagined competition from the companies the likes of Google or Uber or Ola. But these types of changes in the marketplace we think are really good for the industry as a whole, because it pushes our boundaries, it pushes us out of our comfort zone, it encourages us to try new things. And so we look to that competition for inspiration. There are times that we'll collaborate with them, and then of course there'll be times that we compete against them.
Right. So finally, I want to ask you, what does this do for brand Ford in India and globally? First, globally, what do you think it does? How does it sell more cars? How does it make people feel better about the brand?
One of the things I think that makes Ford particularly unique in this space is that irrespective of where you live in the world, at some time in your childhood, you'll read about Henry Ford and what he did for the auto industry. And lots of people think that Henry Ford invented the car, or that he invented the assembly line. But he did neither. He was the first to bring those two together. And the reason he brought it together was because he wanted to democratize access. At that time, cars were only affordable to the people who were very, very wealthy. And he wanted to change that. He wanted to make not mass production, but mass consumption. And I think that we sit at a similar crossroads. We see the population going close to 10 billion people by the year 2050. And giving people mobility solutions today that are accessible, that are affordable, we think will improve the quality of life. And it's based fundamentally on this idea that mobility is a critical component to the advancement of freedom and innovation. And if we get stuck in this global gridlock, that we would put those things in peril. And so right now, I think because of our legacy, we're a 100-year-old company, we're well established, we're well trusted, that when the market does see things like advances in electric vehicles or connected vehicles or autonomous vehicles, they're a brand that they know that we can trust.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoy your trip to India. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is time for us to take a short break. When we return, we speak to Seema Arora Nambiar, Senior Vice President, Strategy, Innovation and Capability at McDonald's India, about their new campaign for this festive season.